What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. I'm your boy NarikChase. In this video we're going to be reviewing the 2024 film Azrael. Now, Azrael is an action horror film directed by Katz, and it's basically set up after the Rapture, and it follows this mute cultists who worship the silence to ward off monstrous burned ones, which are these demonic creatures that eat people. And the story follows the survivor Azrael, who is basically trying to stay alive. Now, this film was an interesting film. There was a lot going for it. It was a lot that wasn't going for it, but it was a lot. It was an interesting film. I'm always interested in films that are happening with like the Rapture or after the Rapture, things like that, because I want to see the interpretation, those kinds of interpretations of like the Bible and stuff like that. So, is it a good film? I'm gonna dive into it now. Positives. I actually like the performances. I did like the main chick, played by Samara Weaving. Her name's Azrael, main chick, but her name's Azrael. I did like Samara Weaving. I thought she did a good job. It was interesting watching people play in a movie and have to emote more due to the fact that they can't talk, because in the movie they're all mute, most of them. And it was interesting being for characters to be able to emote. And I thought she did a pretty good job doing that. I thought she did a really good job. Just I guess show don't tell. I really liked this other woman in the film, Katarina Unk. I thought she did a really good job as well. She has a very expressive look in her eyes, and I don't know if that's just how she looks and the way she looks naturally, or it's just proof of like her acting ability. But there are a lot of great scenes of her just looking, and I just like to look at her eyes and just the emotion that's there, the emotional weight that's in her eyes. I don't know how she did it, but she did a lot. She did a really good job in this film. I actually liked her character. And I like the performance. The story itself is really, really interesting. There is basically in this forest, there's this cultist out there, and cultist stuff happens with survival and sacrifices and stuff like that. I do like the idea of the burned ones. Didn't really register what they were due to the way the story is unveiled. But once I understood, I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting. I do think this is a good-looking movie. I do like the wide shots. I do like the forest setting. I like the isolated feel that it does have. I like the makeup designs for like the burned ones. I like the setting. There is a lot of blood and gore that's in this film, and it's pretty damn brutal too. So if you like those types of things, seeing people get their neck eaten out and stuff like that, you'll get a couple of those in this film as well. There are surprisingly some really good action sequences as well. It's got a very brutal feel to the fight sequences when people get killed or when they're fighting one another. It's really, really brutal, impactful, and you can definitely it has weight to it. And I like fight sequences that are like that. The burden ones, again, I think they're really, really cool, and they're a very interesting idea. I would have liked to see more of them and kind of how they kind of affect the world. But you know, for what we did get, I thought they were pretty interesting. Now, there are some negatives to the film. And I would say there's another guy that's, I don't know, I don't want to say he's like the secondary protagonist or anything, because he is involved with Azrael, but since we don't really follow his story outside of her, can't really count that guy in there. But I don't think he contributed much to the film anyway. So, in terms of the negative, I think the fact that characters were mute, for as much as everybody looks different, as much as they have to emote physically, as much as they have to show don't tell, I think for most of the cast, you don't really get much from them outside of the physical aspect of them. Like, unlike Samara Weaving, Katarina Unk, and there's another woman that's like the cult lady in this film. I thought she did a good job too. outside of like those three, you really don't get into much of the weeds of the other characters. But again, that could be just the difficulty of them having to express themselves without talking. So dialogue is a good way to actually emphasize how a character is, physically, not physically, but mentally and like spiritually and stuff like that, and emotionally. And without that, I do think that does take away from the film, but it does make for a unique film. And another issue that I have with this film is this is supposed to take place after the Rapture. The problem is, if they didn't say this was after the Rapture, you really wouldn't know. It's isolated to this one area. You don't see any travel logs or anything of them going from city to city, and there's like there are people there. You don't see a bunch of different communities and none of them are talking, or you don't really see the aftermath of the Rapture. In fact, there's even a sequence that kind of happens in the film that kind of contradicts it. It opens it up to something bigger, and you're like, well, how come we never actually see what's outside of this area? Because again, I think that kind of contradicts it. But if the film were to show different areas of the world, other communities, and how they're dealing with this, what the Rapture actually, how the Rapture actually affects the world, I think that would have gave it a bit more depth. I do like the main protagonist, Azrael. I do think that she does make some weird decisions, because there's plenty of times she could kind of get out of this area, but she doesn't. And one time I understand, kind of, but I do think she makes a couple of weird decisions here and there. Because a part of me, like half the movie, I'm like, leave, just leave. But I will say this too. I had to kind of look it up, but maybe I'm just not one of those artsy type guys, and I don't even really think it's an artsy type movie like that. But the ending kind of left me confused because I didn't see a build up to it. I think it's an interesting one, but if the film would have did some other things to kind of, let me know what was going on, I could, and that resulted in the ending, I'm like, okay, I can understand why that happened. But I think this was a good movie. Oh, there was one other thing that I wanted to preference in the positives, and there's a sequence where they're in this church, and there are these pictures on the wall that depict what's happening, what has happened, what is going on, and things like that. And I don't think that they gave us a good enough focus on those, because every single time I went to look at it, because I wanted to see, okay, they're going to tell the story with these pictures. I don't think I got a good enough look at them. And if I got a good enough look at a better shot angle, then I'll be like, okay, I understand a bit more what's going on. But ultimately, I think this was a pretty interesting movie. Now, I did end up seeing a rating for this on one of the websites. I can't remember what it was. It was like a 1 out of 5. I'm like, I do not agree with that. I think this is an interesting movie. I think this is a really entertaining film. There are some slow bits to it, but sometimes slow isn't good. Sometimes slow is good to build and to establish until things start jumping off. I think that it's an interesting idea. I don't think it was fully fleshed out enough. If we had maybe another 20 minutes to the film of her kind of exploring the world and seeing the world outside of the bubble that she grew up in while being pursued, I think that would have did much better towards the world building aspect of it. But I walked away from this film, I actually liked the film. I didn't understand how the hell the ending jumped off the way it did, but I still say this was a good movie. Azrael, in my opinion, gets 3 out of 5. So anyway, guys, in the comment section below, let me know, what did you think about Azrael? Did you like it? Did you not like this film? Did you agree with any of my points? If there are any other things that you could possibly think that could have made this a better film, let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what we got going on this channel, and we'll definitely catch you guys later.